Hi, I'm Carlin with Robotronics, and this is Buster.
Hi, Carlin. What are you doing today?
We're going to learn how to operate you, Buster. How's that sound?
That sounds great. Let's do it.
Here we have the carrying case for your controls and voice pieces. Here's the RC. An important thing to notice about the RC is that the bottom side of the RC should go against this side of the case so that when you close it and pick it up, the RC will not be resting on the antenna. Here we have an extra battery for the RC, and this is a neck strap that you can put on to help keep your RC safe while you're using the RC. It clips onto here. Over here we have the two different voice pieces for the robot. The VHF unit is for the hearing side from the robot to the operator, and the UHF is for the operator to the robot, part of the voice system. Here we have adapters for charging the battery either in the RC or externally to the RC. And here is our headset, which has the microphone and earpiece. And here we have the LCD interface, which allows us to connect to the robot and change settings in the robot, such as whether there's random blinking going on, making some adjustments to the drive. Charging the battery for your robot is really easy. We're going to use this charger right here, and we're going to connect the ground, black one, to the ground side, which has the negative symbol, and the red to the plus side. When we do that, we're going to have a light will turn on here, and when it's done charging, it will turn green, and you're good to go. Here's the battery for the RC, and when you charge it, if you're charging it external to the RC, we use this adapter and plug it in here. It's got a little tab on it that makes it so you can only plug it in one way. And when you plug it in, the light on your RC battery charger will come on as long as it's plugged in and charging. You're only going to want to charge the battery for, it takes about 4 hours to charge up the battery, and you can leave it on longer than 4 hours, but don't leave it on longer than 14 hours. And that's for charging it external to the RC. It's also possible to charge the RC battery inside the RC. Plug it in here. I kind of like to tuck that connector in that hole a little bit. Makes it easier to get the battery in place. We put that on. And then this is where we can plug in the connector for the external charging, or for the internal charging. We switch to this other adapter and then plug it in. And that allows us to charge the battery while it's still in the RC. So both voice pieces use a 9-volt battery. For the VHF, we have it back here. The door slides off, and that ribbon helps us take the battery in and out. Back down there. To get at the battery for the UHF unit on the front, there's this little arrow here that we push down on, and that's where we get to on this battery. In both cases, make sure you check carefully to see which side is the plus, and then the plus on the inside is marked. don't want to flip the battery the wrong direction. And when we plug in the headset, the connector that has talk on it is what gets plugged into the UHF side, and the other one that doesn't have a label on it gets plugged into the output that says headphone on it. On the VHF unit, it has a volume knob right here, and when you're getting reception, this light will turn green. The LED that's marked that is red and has low battery on it will, when you first turn it on, you'll see that pop on for a little bit, red, and that's normal. It's only when you're operating it and you see that that light turns on, that's an indication that the battery has gone low and then it's time to replace the battery. On the UHF unit, you just have a 3-position switch, off, standby, and on. Basically, you're just going to want to use that in the on position. And then the same for this LED. It'll briefly flash when you first turn it on, but it's only when it stays on during operation that the battery is low. You can install the battery by opening up this back door. We've got this little, to open the door, we lift this up, we turn it to the side, and the door will swing out. Later on, if we want to remove the top, we'll need to lift this door up, and it slides off like that, and that will allow us to take the top off. For right now, you can just lift the battery up in here. There is a strap on the inside that goes over the top of the battery, and there's a little Velcro patch that the strap can be attached to help hold it up out of the way. We click onto there and then cinch it down. That keeps the robot battery from sliding around. And then the connector plugs into, right here we have the red plug into the red and the black plug into the black. Right like that. And then here is our power switch for turning the robot on and off. If we need to take the top of the robot off, which sometimes can be helpful for transporting the robot, or if we need to get into the electronics or components of the robot, there's 4 pins that hold the top of the robot in place. And so we'll release those 4 pins, and then there's also this 16-pin connector, ring connector. That ring connector you turn counterclockwise, and that will loosen it up and take it off. And then the 4 pins for releasing the top of the robot, there's one back here and one back here on the inside. We reach in there and we fill the pin and we pull it out on both sides. And then the next 2 are a little bit trickier. You have to reach a little bit deeper into the robot. You fill them. That one was already out. Do it on both sides. Okay, and once all 4 pins have been pulled out, then we can grab kind of on the front eye and back here and lift it up. That's how you take the top off. To make use of the LCD interface, we're going to plug the 9-pin connector into this side over here and then turn the ring on it clockwise. And once that's in place, then we'll turn the robot on. Once the robot's booted up, this right here tells you the version of code that's in the robot. These buttons here just say up, down, right, left until you press the center select button. That gets you into the menu where you can change the settings. The first menu item is random modes. On a Buster, that means you can either have the eyes winking and blinking randomly, and also move right and left just a little bit randomly to help Buster seem more alive. But if you don't want that feature, then you can go in there and just select the all off. The head on only applies to other robots. And then the next function is setting the drives. That's something that we do at the factory. You shouldn't need to worry about that. And then the next possible function is the drive limit switch, which allows you to determine whether when you're driving Buster around, you can decide whether you want to have to be able to hold down a limit switch to make it so you don't accidentally drive Buster when you're not intending to. Some people like that feature, some people don't, so it's your choice whether to have that on or off. Then the last one is the flashing eyes. Some people like it that when you talk, Buster's eyes flash to help emphasize the fact that Buster is talking. And some people just want Buster's eyes to stay solidly lit. So you can decide whether you want that or not. You can experiment, try it either way, and this is where you would set that. So if you want to enable it, on the enable you press select, and then it'll ask yes or no. If you want to have it enabled, then you press yes. And then the other way, if you wanted to disable it, it would ask you to disable it. Or if you don't want to do either, just press exit. So inside we have the electronic components for the Buster robot. When we turn the robot on, we'll see this is the main brains or processor board for the robot, and there's a yellow blinking LED. When you turn it on, if it's not receiving signal, it will blink slowly like this. But when it has a good signal, after we turn the RC on, the LED will be blinking more rapidly. This board here is, we call it a servo on-off board, and it allows for turning the lights on and off, and also for controlling the two different servos that Buster has in the lower part of the robot. If there's a crossing arm, there's a servo up in here, and then for the stop arm, this is the servo for controlling the stop arm. This is the motor control board for controlling the drive system of Buster. This board here is a power distribution board that provides the voltages for the different boards in the robot and also for the other electronic components. This board here is the MP3 player board, and it's got an SD card holder right here. With the robot off, we can take the SD card out and add songs to it or change the sound effects that are in Buster. This board here is the audio mixer board, which mixes the audio from the voice systems and also mixes the audio from the MP3 player and then sends it out to this road rage unit, which is the amplifier for the robot. There's a volume control right here if we need to turn the volume up and down on the robot. This right here is the UHF system, which is the receiver for the audio from the operator to the robot. There's a power button right here, and also when it's receiving a signal, there's some green LEDs. They're a little bit harder to see down in there, but you should be able to see some green LEDs flashing when you're talking if it's receiving the audio well. This is voice modifier unit. If you have a voice modifier for your robot, these 4 knobs, this controls how much the effect of the voice modifier is. You're going to want to turn that into its max position. This knob here doesn't matter what position it's in. This one here is for turning the frequency of your voice up and down, and this kind of, if you can see where this is at, is usually a pretty good position for the voice. This knob here, you want it to turn to the pitch shifter position, which basically means turn this knob completely counterclockwise. You can't really see it, but underneath this corner here is where the transmitter for the VHF unit is, which is the audio from the robot to the operator. If you have a water squirter as part of your robot, the pump is right here, and then the water reservoir is stored in this corner right here. And then the connectors for disconnecting it are right here. For turning on Buster, we're going to push this switch up there. When you first do that, you're going to get a switch error. To clear the switch error, these 3 switches need to be in the up position, and then just briefly pull this switch towards you. That clears the switch error. The switch error is there to make sure that you don't accidentally start driving Buster before you intend to. This stick over here is for driving Buster. Push the stick forward, Buster will drive forward, backwards, drive backwards, right and left for turning right and left. This stick over here is for controlling Buster's eyes and eyelids. When we have the stick all the way up and to the right, that will blink his right eyelid. All the way to the left will blink his left eyelid. If we come down a little bit, then the stick will control Buster looking right and left. And then if we bring the stick all the way down, that will close Buster's eyes until we bring the stick back up some. These 4 switches are for controlling different functions on Buster. This switch, when you press it down, will toggle the headlights on. Press it down again, will turn the headlights off. The up position doesn't do anything on Buster. This switch in the upper position will turn the red blinking lights on and also extend the stop arm and also the crossing arm if you have a crossing arm. If you press it again, that will retract the stop arm and the crossing arm and turn off the red blinking lights. If we press down, that will turn on the yellow blinking caution lights. Press it again, it will turn the yellow blinking lights off. This switch over here, the down position doesn't do anything. If you have a water squirter installed on Buster, then pressing up will activate the water squirter for as long as you're holding it up. If you release it, that will turn off the water squirter. You probably won't use this on Buster, but he has it if for some reason you wanted to. If you hold it down, this will turn on a siren sound for as long as you're holding it, and then when you let go, it will turn off the siren. The up position will give Buster a surprise look where his eyelids will raise a little bit higher, and they'll stay up for as long as you're holding the switch, and then when you let go, then his eyelids will return to their normal position. To control the MP3 player functions, we hold this switch down, and pushing this switch down will stop whatever song is currently playing. Push it up will start playing whatever song is cued to play. Pressing it again will pause the song, and pressing it again will continue the song wherever it had paused. This switch over here will advance through the tracks this direction or back to the previous track that direction. Pressing it will start playing a song immediately. This switch over, these 4 switches control MP3 player sound effects. There's 4 different sound effects, one for each of the 4 positions. Up here, you don't need the MP3 player switch held down to control the MP3 player volume, but this is the MP3 player volume knob over here. This volume over here is for controlling the voice of the operator, and if we turn it all the way down, that will mute your voice.